The Dallas Mavericks are now officially the hottest team in the NBA as they dismantled the Houston Rockets, a team that had won 9 or 10 in a row. Can't remember now. It doesn't matter because they lost 11 in a row, I'm being told by producer Coop, who's about to hop in here. What a ride we might be starting here for your Dallas Mavericks. My name is Harrison Graham. Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. 7 straight for the good guys. I think 10 out of 11 or 11 out of 12.
11 out of 12.
The Mavs are scorching hot, 11 out of 12. And Coop, happy April Fool's Day. I don't think the Mavs are fools this year. I think they're absolutely legit.
They're legit, man. Sub for Mavericks dubs, just 8 games left in the regular season. Let's push for home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. I think it's possible we see that, and it's getting really fun around here. So if you want to follow along all throughout the playoff run, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll have you covered all throughout the 2023-2024 NBA postseason.
Yeah, we got you guys here on the channel. And Coop, you know, we could talk about last night's game here a little bit, and I'm sure we will, but what do you think the biggest takeaway just from this run overall has been? I mean, obviously, you've got a guy in Luka Doncic who's playing like an MVP. He had another monster game last night. We'll throw the numbers up right here. He was fantastic. It looked like briefly this, not 73 like earlier in the year, but you're like, this could be another 60 piece.
Through the first quarter, he had 22, and I texted my friends. I was like, you guys need to get to a TV here because this could go nuclear.
Well, he also had 8 rebounds and 4 assists in that first quarter.
He went off. It was one of those games where you're like, he could do anything he wanted to on the night. Yeah, and it was special. That's a good question, though. I think my biggest takeaway is this team just isn't afraid to play anyone, and they're obviously led by their 2 superstars, and Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. And at this point, I think I'm taking the Mavs against anybody in the first round right now.
I really do. I think my biggest takeaway, Coop, is this team in the clutch and on the road,
yes,
does not panic. And that is the total opposite of last year. I mean, last year in clutch games, they were horrific. This year, they're the best in the NBA. They just went on this tough road trip, won every game. I mean, we were sitting there saying, at least go 3-2. You
got one more against Golden State here
one
coming
more.
up. Yeah, so they went 4-0 at least.
You're 4-0. I think good chance to complete that here, 5-0. But even if you don't, still a success. And we were kind of saying, okay, hopefully by the end of this road trip, you're at least still in the 7th spot, maybe in the 6th. You're in the 5 spot now, correct?
Yes, you're in the 5 spot. Yes, we'll get into the weeds about in the NBA standings and what that means for the Mavs right now. But they're sitting in the 5 spot, just a game and a half out of 4th right now as we stand. So it is perfectly feasible for the Mavericks to have home court advantage in the first round of the postseason.
The only negative is that Dereck Lively got banged up last night. We'll talk about that coming up here in a second as well. But listen, PrizePicks, folks. March may be over. And John Rothstein is a big fan of saying this is March. But this is April and not April Fools. PrizePicks is the best daily fantasy sports app in North America. It is the biggest time of year when it comes to the NCAA tournament. You got the Women's Elite 8 final games tonight before they get to the Final Four. You got a little Caitlin Clark action tonight, Angel Reese. I'm sure Kim Mulkey will be launching jackets into the stand. If you want to get going with some picks from that matchup, you can. You also got the Final Four next week. And, hey, you got the playoff push in the NBA where you can win up to 100 times your money on certain entries. Right now, we got a little 3-player entry tonight, 10 to win 50 here. Going to go less on Bradley Beal, which, by the way, were Coop and I not right with the Phoenix Suns? I mean, we'll see how the playoffs go. But
spot on.
Beal has not had much of an impact at all. Less on points, rebounds, assists there. Take the more on Kevin Durant. He's been fantastic. He'll get 25 or more there. And then same with CJ McCollum, 23.5 or more or less there. We'll take the more. 10 to win 50 on that one. Get started with PrizePicks today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS as well. You can turn $10 into $1,000 on certain entries right now with PrizePicks. Get going today. It is different every day. That's the beauty of daily fantasy. And with PrizePicks, it's made easy. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. All right, Coop, let's talk about the one negative. Dereck Lively suffered a leg injury last night, did not play in the second half. I think a bit unknown what his status is going to be. And look, we're riding a high right now, and it's not like the season's over if something significant happened here, but this would definitely dampen and potentially significantly hurt the Mavs, at least ceiling and what they can do. Now, I think they could overcome it. You know, you could increase Gafford's minutes by 5 to 10 minutes. I think Kleber's, you can pass with him as your backup center. But make no mistake, this would be a notable loss if something significant has happened here. Hopefully that is not the case.
Yeah, as of noon on Monday, we're not sure what his status is for the game against Golden State, so we'll keep you guys updated on that. But it certainly could be significant. These are his stats since the Mavs made the lineup switch and brought Lively off the bench.
Very good.
9 points, almost 6 boards, still over a block a game, and the field goal percentage is excellent because he's catching those lobs from Luca and Kyrie. It just feels significant to me, and the reason why I think it's significant is you kind of touched on it. You don't want to rely on Maxi Kleber or, God forbid, Dwight Powell to play significant minutes in the NBA postseason.
Yeah, look, I mean, whether we like it or not, I do think Kleber's at least going to have a small role in this rotation.
And that's what it needs to be.
Even with Lively. The problem is if it's without Lively, then there might be games where he's touching 20-plus minutes, which I don't love the prognosis of that. It could be worse. I mean, you entered the season with just Lively and Powell, basically, with Kleber playing here and there, playing some 4 and 5.
And I don't know what to make of this, but he was on the bench last night in shorts and just a warm-up. So
yeah,
cheering him on. He wasn't like in the back getting, treatment or x-rays or whatever. So I don't know what to read into that, but my hope is it's not significant. He misses a game or two, and he's back here soon.
My half-glass full outcome is this game was a blowout at halftime. They didn't need him to win last night. He's a young rookie, a big who, tweaked his leg. Let's not push things. The half-glass empty is he's a 7-footer, and leg stuff can be dicey.
Always dangerous.
So we'll see. I get the feeling he's probably in that day-to-day category, which if that's the case, hey, sit him against Golden State maybe, get him back for the next game once you return home. So, I'll throw it at a 5-5. I mean, it's a little above average on the concern level here. Let us know what you guys think. 10 being very concerned, 1 not being concerned at all. I'm mildly concerned. I'd be way more concerned if Daniel Gafford was not on this roster. I mean, this would be DEFCON 9.
Yeah, absolutely. I put it like a 6.5/7 right now, just given the nature of what we know and what we don't know, and that'll obviously change as time goes on. But yeah, there's definitely cause for concern there, given how good he's played this season, and frankly, I think he's played above expectation for what we thought coming into the year.
I mean, we were talking about him having to play in Frisco before the season.
Exactly.
And he's been, at minimum, an excellent backup and at times a really good starter. So we'll keep tabs on this. If we get news later today, we'll have Coop throw up a short on the channel with an update. So stay tuned for that. Let's take a look at the playoff picture now, Coop. Like I said, the Mavs have climbed all the way up to the 5 seed. They do currently have the tiebreaker over the Pelicans, which, by the way, I finally cleared this up. It is conference record if the head-to-head ends up in a tie.
Okay.
So, like Sacramento, let's say they get back into the fold and they have the same record. It would go to conference record.
Good to know.
That is good to know. The question is where do things sit best if you look at this? I mean, you could still argue you'd kind of rather be 6 if you don't want to play the Clippers, but you also can't think that way.
I had this exact discussion with some of my friends this morning. It's like, you'd rather be 6 to try to avoid Denver until the conference finals, but also you're not in the business of losing games on purpose for seeding. You win all the games you can, and then you go from there. If the Mavs happen to play Denver in the first or second round, so be it. I think right now the Mavs mentality is we're going to play anybody and we're going to beat anybody.
Yeah, and that's how it needs to be. And look, like even if the Clippers aren't the best matchup in round 1, well, go get the 4 seed. At least get home court advantage for that.
And the Clippers are kind of falling apart right now. I know they're playing better as of late, but I'm officially ready to say I'm taking the Mavs against anybody here in the first round.
They're rolling right now. There is no question about it.
There's a big one tonight, by the way, that has significant implications on where the Mavericks stand. It is Phoenix at New Orleans. So if the Suns win, it would give the Mavs sole possession of 5th place in the West. But if the Suns lose, they're a full 2.5 games behind the Mavs.
I was going to say, I call me a hot take machine here. I don't think I'm that too often, but I think I'd rather have Phoenix lose because then you're just that much closer from avoiding the play-in.
Yes, I agree.
Because we just discussed, if you're the 6 seed, the 5, who cares?
It doesn't matter.
It's not that big of a deal, and you'd still just be a half game back. Like if you go beat Golden State, you're back in 5. So I think I would prefer Phoenix to lose this, and then you're kind of barring a collapse. You've kind of, I don't want to say locked yourself into a 6 seed, but you're that much closer. If Phoenix loses this game and you go beat Golden State, you've really kind of separated from 7 through 10 at that point.
Yeah, if Phoenix loses, you're 2.5 ahead of them with 8 to go.
And you have the tiebreaker.
And the tiebreaker as well. And then with Sacramento, hopefully you can stack those wins in the West and get that. Phoenix losing is definitely the best outcome here, but a Phoenix win as well also wouldn't be the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, on the flip side, if New Orleans loses, you're that much closer to being locked into the 5. So I mean, it's kind of a win-win, but I would prefer if Phoenix lost, and I just don't want to play in that plan, dude. Anything can happen there. And by the way, if the Mavs do fall into the play at this point, that probably means they didn't play that well these final 2 weeks.
That's correct, which is not what we want.
That's not what you want, which means you're heading into the play and not feeling great about yourself. So I think we're going Pellies tonight, but not the end of the world if Phoenix does win. All right, if you want the Mavs to win the Western Conference, spam MFFL.
Come on.
Could you imagine getting back to the finals? That'd be absolutely electric.
You're giving me chills just thinking about it. I think this team can do it, though, the way they're playing. I do.
Yeah, especially if the Lively thing isn't serious. You've got 2 legitimate centers that give you punch on both sides. You've got 2 superstars. You've got quality depth. The ingredients are there. It's all about
it's coming, baby.
Peaking at the right time, and the Mavs appear to be doing that. Spam MFFL. Hit subscribe. Again, if we get a Lively update today, we'll throw up a short on the channel. We'll see you guys soon.